Saturday, April 20th, 2013, Cedar Mountain, Newington, Connecticut. This is the Newington town property, formerly the Marquette property. That's looking down over the center of Newington to the west. And that light colored thing through the woods there is the top of the MDC water tower. That's approximately 600 or 700 feet away. In a continuing effort to better understand the hydrology and hydrogeology of this mountain, I've been making certain observations and documenting some of them. This is a very interesting one, especially as it relates to groundwater and water on Cedar Mountain. This is a foundation I found here. 20 by 20 foundation, which I've determined from old records going back to 1909 was a reservoir to store and convey water to what was then the Children's Aid Society, or the home for the Incurables, better known as the Newington Children's Hospital, which is right in that direction there, down the hill over Cedar Street. Pretty interesting that there was enough water here to store in a reservoir. This is 20 by 20, 400 square feet. I've estimated it to be approximately 16 to 20 feet tall. At 20 feet tall, I think that equates out somewhere to 40,000 gallons, a little bit more actually. It goes down about 6 to 8 feet from where you can see here to the floor of it. They pushed the concrete walls in. It was all concrete, and I could see at least 6 to 8 foot walls. So again, very interesting. And the source of the water was likely either this body of water here, which is a wetland, a vernal pool of some sort, which I'm almost certain is spring fed with groundwater, because as I pointed out in an earlier video, it has very little watershed and it never completely dries up. Very similar situation, what I believe is a very similar situation to wetland 2 on the Balf property, where it's being fed by an eastern plateau. In this case, it's the fields on the former Marquette property to the east and looking in this direction here. Wetland 2 from here is approximately 1,200 to 1,500 feet away at the most, I would say. I'll check it on the maps later. But very interesting putting the two of these together. This property wasn't owned by the Children's Hospital at that time. It was deeded a small 50 by 50 parcel, and it clearly states for the purpose of storing and conveying water. Or I've seen it on some records referred to as a well house, a spring house, and a reservoir. So I believe they stored the water here. At first I thought it was just a pumping station, but now I believe this was actually a reservoir, and just like it says in the records. And they must have pumped it either out of this body of water here, or they could have had a hole drilled down somewhere in this area here. But if it would have been, I would have thought it would be down in this valley here, where somewhere close to where this water is collecting now. Or they could have had just a sleeve in the ground to keep it a little cleaner. I'm not sure how they did it, but most likely the water came from here, was stored in here, and went down to the hospital, which is right down in this direction. Through there, I think these are some of the roofs of the new buildings at the hospital. This is looking at the northwest corner of the reservoir foundation.